Welcome back to the channel, Warhammer Man back in the studio, and today we're taking a look at this week's Saturday pre-orders. They are live. And then also we've got some new releases from the pre-order section last week that are now officially available. If you are new to the channel, make sure to like and subscribe. Really helps out for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, warcry content as well. Pretty much anything to do with tabletop, war games, RPGs, that is typically Games Workshop related. This is definitely the spot for you. So obviously the big release this week is Necromunda Ash Wastes. There was quite a bit of speculation as to if I was wrong about the prices, but I assure you I get them directly from the source. So there was some confusion because this was priced, the Ash Waste box set was priced at £180, and so people said that the conversion rate would basically make the price around $240. Unfortunately, they're not taking into account some of the extra costs that GW or other companies have when exporting products to different countries. So for instance, something like VAT tax or something like that is going to be like roughly another $50 on top of that. So that puts you about like that $299 price point. So obviously a little pricey. We'll take a little deeper dive into that later on. I did pick up a copy of it so that I can give you guys a legit review on the content, do an unboxing, and then obviously take a look at the book and see what all is involved. There has also been some questions and replies from Games Workshop as to whether the actual book, tokens, dice, and cards will all be available separately. They didn't give any specific response to that. I'm assuming in the future you'll be able to get those things separately, maybe in some sort of pack or whatever. But the truth is they haven't officially said yes yet. I think it's a missed opportunity if they don't, because there's a lot of people I think that would buy the book, you know, the dice, the cards, the tokens, but not necessarily interested in all these extra models or the terrain specifically. So I do suspect that they will break all that up. They originally said that the terrain was going to be offered separately, and then kind of just pulled back on that or didn't comment on it. So again, I would imagine that all these things are going to be available separately, but in the meantime, we just see what they have officially released. So next we have the Carta Galactica, the Western Hemisphere of Necromunda. This is a big old map, Necromunda themed map. $29 for that. Not particularly exciting to me. I mean, it's a cool little something or another. And then next we have the individual components from the box set. So we have the Ash Waste Nomad Party, $47 for them. You get 10 of them. It's 2 identical sprues, but can make, you know, countless individual guys that will not all look the same. There's different weapon, equipment, and accessory options as well. And then we have the Ash Waste Nomad Dustback Helamites, $47 for 4 of those. And obviously those both come in the box set. That is your Ash Waste side of the gang. And then next we have the Orruk Outrider quads. You'll get 2 of these quads. Pretty cool overall. I have some various complaints or arguments. I've heard a couple things. Over time, I think the biggest issue for me is they're not very wide and they're really tall, which is obviously not a good idea for trying to drive an off-road vehicle, because you're going to roll it. Everybody knows that. You need that low center of gravity. But that being said, they look pretty cool overall. They're definitely like something kind of unique for the range. We've seen like some Gene Stealer quads before, but this is pretty cool. So $47 for 2 of those. If you're an Orruk player, probably going to be snagging those up. And then obviously the Orruk gang is not listed here because you can already buy 10 Orruks for $47. So you can already get the standard gang, which is the 4th main component of like model sprues that comes in the set. So next we have the Ash Waste Nomad gang cards and the Orruk vehicle gang cards, apparently having some kind of issue with the picture on that one. We know that there are, I think it was 18 and 8 cards in the packs, but they didn't say what exactly they are. So there's 8 ganger cards where you fill out like the stats for your gangers. Those can be gotten many different places, but I believe also there's like 18 like tactics cards and whatnot. We don't know for sure what the deal is with these cards. Like in the past, some of the cards that they have offered separately have been the same ones from the box set for like the ganger specific stuff, like for instance in Dark Uprising. But I don't know if these are going to be exactly the same as what's in the box. So until we actually see the cards that are in the box, I can match up and see if some of them are the same or if they're all different. But in the meantime, I'm just assuming that these are the same cards that come in the box set. So you get 2 packs of these cards, which are $16.50 each. Next, we have the Huron Blackheart Master of Maelstrom limited edition, $65 for that. Huron Blackheart Master of Maelstrom hardback, $19. And then, of course, the leftover stuff from last week. We have these might be from this week. The Imperial Infantryman's Handbook, paperback, $30. That's got a cool cover on it. Penitent Beckwin, Book 2, paperback, $16. And then Dawn of Fire, Throne of Light, paperback, for $16 as well. Not sure why, but GW's site is forever struggling. I thought they redid it, but apparently did not make any positive changes. So Warhammer Underworld's Harrowdeep, The Exiled Dead. This was last week's pre-order, now officially available, $42 for them. Dawn of Fire, Throne of Light, Special Edition, $75. Again, a super cool cover on that. And then we see the Underworld's Nethermaze, Rivals of Harrowdeep. So this is all the models and the cards from the Harrowdeep set, but without the base game. So this is $80 instead of the $95 it would normally cost you for the full box set. Those are still available in a lot of places. So if you were bummed because you missed out, for the extra $15, you can just get the rest of the set. Alternatively, when you think about it, for what one individual warband costs, it's $42. For two, it's $80. So you save like $2 per warband by buying the little duo right here. But obviously, it's a better deal. Just buy the whole game for $95. And then finally, we have the Warhammer Underworld's Nethermaze, the new Warhammer Underworld set, again priced at that new price point of $95. I know a lot of people were a little bummed about that. The last 4 weeks now of new items have been kind of a bummer, I think, for a lot of people. A lot of people were hoping that the Underworld's new expansion was not going to come in at that $95 price point. I would say officially that's the new price. I know a lot of people have quit the game or passed on the game or lost interest in the game, so I can't really say how well that's like selling or anything. I know anybody I know that was interested in it, and a lot of people from the community have basically said the models are cool, but I gave up on the game. So I do suspect some people picking this up for the new models, but overall I would say probably a pretty big flop. And then obviously these dead are, you know, pretty lackluster in my opinion, and then this is something that was basically already available. So we see last week's pre-orders were pretty blah. The week before that, we saw basically like the new set for Sigmar, and again that big terrain set and the book and everything, and again that looked like a pretty big flop for a lot of people. A lot of like meta chasing people were after the Incarnate because he's pretty good, but obviously was only offered in the big set for like $220, which was again pretty big failure in my opinion. I know some people picked up the book, but in general I think people were pretty blah about that. And then the week before that, we saw the big terrain set, the new one for 40K. Again, you know, was priced pretty high. I know a lot of controversy over that one. So basically now we have the Necromunda Ash Wastes set coming out as well, and again priced much higher than people were expecting. So pretty much the last month has been a pretty big flop for like GW releases as far as the amount of hype and then the amount of sales. So that being said, I think we're seeing a clear trend with what's happening here. I think it was cool that they tried to take some steps to basically release the individual models from the set. I think that probably hurts them long run, but helps them by actually making sales. Because I think there's a lot of people that will pick up the Ash Wastes Nomads, or pick up the quads, or pick up the Helamite Riders, but wouldn't necessarily spend $300 on the box set, because maybe they're not going to play the game. Maybe they just like a couple models. Maybe they already have a lot of the models. They just want to paint some up, etc. I know there's a lot of people that will still pick up the box set because they want the new rules. So if you have basically like 4 to 8 people that play together pretty regularly, you're probably going to be able to sell one of these box sets to those people. So I imagine this probably will sell okay. But again, the extra, you know, I mean, whatever you want to call it, if it was priced at $250, I think it would have sold a lot better. If it was priced at $220, I think it would have sold extremely well. But at $299, I don't think this is going to be a big seller. But that being said, we've gotten some clearer pictures now of the sprues and everything that comes inside. So I do want to take a look at that. So that was everything in the box set. Here's your Orlok 10 gangers and your quads. We figured this out, and it was basically $47 and $47. So it's $94 worth of retail Orloks in the set. And then skipping over, we see the same thing with the Nomads, $94 for these, and again can be individually purchased. So we know it's around $200 worth of actual just minis right in the box set. And then just passing over the minis, next we get to some of the other contents. So here's all the terrain sets, and then it's missing a bunch of the scatter terrain in this picture. I don't know why they didn't gather it all up, but this is all like the big stuff that comes in the set. And it looks to me, I believe it was 8 sprues is what I looked at. So we'll take a look at those sprues here in just a second. But overall, this terrain is pretty cool. It's definitely growing on me. I like it. Originally, I was a little on it. It kind of was surprising, but I think overall, I really do like it. It has a cool look to it. And that being said, I think they did well. It's definitely a little something different. It's not what we were probably expecting, but it's cool. And then here for the dice and templates and the little ruler and everything. So we know these are your like standard Necromunda dice in the set. And then these are the vehicle dice right here. Can't quite tell exactly what the deal is with these. In the past, we've always seen 2 sets of dice in different colors, and then each player had their own dice. But we're seeing something a little different here. So here we have these 3 dice are all the same. These are like your standard dice for Necromunda. And then we have like our injury dice. And then we have our hit dice, and then we have like the scatter dice right here. So it's not actually able to be broken down into 2 different sets because some of the dice there's only 1 of. And it's the same here with the vehicle dice. So again, we see these 4 maybe vehicle dice are all the same. And then this one is different, and then this one is different. So it's really just one big set of dice. So maybe just because vehicles are getting more shots, or I'm not really sure, but you know, obviously we need these extra dice, and then there's some various other ones as well. So these are, again, unique dice. So, you know, I said this in a previous video, and some people took it the wrong way. My point is that you're going to have to buy this box set if you want to play the game, because, at least initially, because you can't buy the rulebook separately, you can't buy the dice separately, and you can't buy the tokens separately. So, and then obviously the cards as well. So in the meantime, if you want to play this game, you have to buy the box set. Now this is interesting right here. We see the rulebook. This is probably just an old piece of art on the rulebook, because we've seen the rulebook since this, and this does not look like the rulebook that is contained in the set. This looks much skinnier and does not look hardback. So to me, I think this picture may be incorrect, but we have been pretty much confirmed multiple times that it is a big hardback rulebook. Maybe that's not going to be the case, but that's what we were told, at least initially. So that being said, next we have our token sheets. So we see on the token sheets that these are a lot of your standard token stuff on here, but then there's also a bunch of different ones, because we see there's like some vehicle tokens and stuff like that. Now, obviously, you could figure out a way to use tokens without the actual token sheet, but if you wanted to play the correct way with the correct tokens and the cards, etc., you do have to buy this set to play the game. Next, we see a bunch of the cards. So we see here like some random territory cards. You can see they generate like so many D6 credits, etc. And they're just basically like part of the campaign set. Does not actually show off any of the specific cards that go to the 2 factions. But again, I suspect those will be the cards that are available separately. And then back to the tokens. We have the quick little reference guides right here. And then we have the actual board itself. So there's a daytime and a nighttime. This is just a fold out paper type board. And then we see the actual sprues. So we'll get 2 of each of these. So this is for the Waste Nomads. Here's for the orruks. Here's for the orruk vehicles. And now here we're into the actual sprues for the box set. So I went through and looked at all the pictures and figured out basically what all is in the box set. So we'll know exactly how many of each sprue. Because the Games Workshop unboxing that they didn't show off the terrain or how much of it was in there or anything specific. So here's the specifics from what I have figured out so far. So from the initial picture, there's 2 of these in the set, because we have 2 of the small pillar pieces, or like 2 of the small platform pieces, and then this is like the stand for it and everything, and then there's 4 of these pieces. So if we have 2 of these, we'll have 2 of the small platforms, and then 8 of the sort of like walkways. So that's the first 2 sprues. Then we have 3 of this sprue, and this sprue makes the large platform and its stand and everything. And then 1 of them is left plain in the box set in the art we see. And then 2 of them have like tops put on them to make them into buildings. So again, we have 2 of the first sprue, 3 of this sprue, so 5 total. And then here's the top of the building sprues, or like the, you know, little, yeah, I guess you would call them shelters, whatever. So at that point in time, we have 2 of these, so that's 7 total sprues. And then we have, from what I have seen, only 1 of this sprue. So this is the 8th sprue for the set. The only way I was able to identify it clearly was by this piece right here, and then like the closed doors for the shelters. So that being said, it looks like you get 1 of these. There's a possibility there's 2, but we don't see the second like kind of overhang. So I assume it's 1. So 8 total, and then we have the random Necromunda sprue that we've seen throughout the ages with like scatter train and everything. So that is your 9th sprue. So from what I have seen, there's 9 total terrain sprues in the set. 1 is this old duplicate, and then there's 8 new ones. Again, 1 of this one, 2 of this one, that's 3, 3 of this one, that's 6, and then 2 of this one, that is 8. So that is what I have figured out so far is in the box set. And then obviously we have finally the template sprue as well. And then that's everything. So again, looking back at the main picture and seeing like the actual terrain set, I want to say there was one better picture than this, where it just shows all the terrain. Yeah, so this is all the terrain by itself. So this is what I was going by. So obviously some of the scatter terrain is missing right here, but we see there's 1 big platform, 2 big platforms, 3 big platforms, and then the actual like stands and everything. So that's your 3 sprues, and then 2 of the buildings are put on top of them. So now that's your 5 sprues, and then we have 6, 7 right here, and that has like all the walkway pieces as well. And then there's an 8th sprue, which is like the accessory stuff, which has like this piece and some of the other things we saw on there, some of like this stuff right here. So that's what I figured, and then the 9th sprue is the scatter terrain. So I'm pretty sure that's accurate. It seems like we've got everything locked down in there. So we have a really good idea now what comes in the box set, and you know what you're getting. When it's all said and done, if you were going to buy all the models, you would spend almost $200. So you're spend another $100 for all the terrain, for the book, the cards, the tokens, the dice. So when it's all said and done, I think this is a high price point, and it's probably going to act as a barrier entry for a lot of Necromunda players, especially if they want to play this new edition. That being said, it's still a good deal based on retail prices. It's just not amazing. If they were going to offer the rulebook separately, just by itself, and you could just buy the rulebook, I think they would charge probably $60 or $65 for it. And then the cards, obviously, you know, you're talking about probably at least $30 worth of cards. So that's around 100. A token sheet, I mean, they're going to sell that to you for like, what, $20, 120. And then these come with the rulebook. You know, the board itself, worth at least like, you know, whatever, $20 Games Workshop value. So you're looking at like $140 for that stuff. And then you have the dice also, which again, you know, if the dice are offered separately, I would expect GW to probably charge you like $30 for the dice. Maybe like the tokens as well. So when it's all said and done, you know, there's quite a bit of value in this set based on retail prices. The real question is are you going to be able to purchase all this stuff separately? I would say probably yes, you're going to be able to get that. Now, when they did it for Kill Team, before they had the starter set for Kill Team, and they only had like the Knockmoon set originally, or I'm sorry, the Octaria set, and then they added in some other stuff, they didn't have a ton of choices for accessories, and then they introduced the Accessory Bundle, which is where you could buy basically like the rule book, the Octarius book, or you could buy the tokens and the dice, you know, or the cards. So they kind of like came up with separate ways that you could purchase that stuff, and then they bundled a lot of it together with no additional savings, but just, you know, so you could come in and buy everything you needed. So when it's all said and done, I think if they do something similar to that, you know, again, for the book, if we assume they're going to charge, let's say $50 to $65 for that, and then the token sheet will probably come with some of the other stuff, but probably has around a roughly, you know, $20 value. So we're talking about roughly like $80 right there. And then the cards, you know, roughly, let's say like $30, $110, and then the dice roughly at like $30, $140, and then the templates included and all that too. I think we probably get a bundle which is no models and no terrain, and then it's probably somewhere around like $100 to $125. Or maybe there's a couple different bundles, one where you can buy just the book, and then one where you get like the tokens, the dice, the cards, something like that. I don't know. That's just my guess. I think that they would be better off offering separate sets like that so that people can play the game without having to buy this box set. Because let's be real, there's a lot of people who probably want to play this game but don't care about the terrain, don't care about the models in this set because they don't play orruks or they don't want to play nomads. So as they come out with additional vehicles for all the other factions, you know, somebody that plays Vansar or Escher might just want to buy the rules and stuff, but doesn't care about this terrain or doesn't care about these models. So I think that it makes sense for them to offer the key components that you need to play the game for somewhere around like, you know, $100 or whatever, so people can still pick that up. Now, when you compare that to the Necromunda starter that's available now, it was $150, and then with the price changes, it went up to $170. With that, you get terrain, you get 2 gangs, you get all the rules, the dice, the templates, the cards. So it's not going to be that good of a deal. Let's be real. Buying a box set is always a better deal. But if you don't want to spend $300 on this set, I think you can probably get away with spending like $125 or so down the road. But we don't know when that's going to be. I mean, it could be literally 3 months from now. It could be 6 months from now. It could be 9 months from now. It could be next week. But I do suspect they're going to sell the rules and the necessity stuff separately. And then eventually I think the terrain will come out separately as well. Again, probably somewhere around, you know, 112 has been the sweet spot for like the terrain stuff they've been putting out lately that's from box sets. But they may go 125 or 150 depending on how well it does. Because I suspect that if this set sold really well, there would be less of a reason for them to sell the individual components separately. If this set doesn't sell all that well, I think that they're leaving sales on the table because there's people that would buy individual components that don't want to buy the whole set. And I think that was their idea with like the orruk quads and the nomads separately. But I think the most important pieces that need to be sold separately are the necessities. You need the rulebook, the dice, the cards, and the counters, the tokens to play. So I think it makes a lot of sense for them to sell that separately. You can get away without the terrain, you can get away without these specific models, but you need the main components to play. And I think there's a lot of people that would buy those components that won't buy this box set. So that being said, I do suspect we're going to get some kind of setup like that in like the Kill Team box in the future. Now, we'll have to wait and see. I don't know for sure, obviously. This is just my speculation. And, you know, we'll have to see how it all plays out in the end. If we go over to the Necromunda set, though, I think we have to go to rules. We see they still have the High Vor set available. So that's not going away. You know, typically they'll get rid of the old box set right away if they don't want it on there. So this set is $175, and we can kind of see the difference between this set. This board looks like it's smaller than the other board. I think that other board is bigger. I don't know if they actually said the size, but you do get 2 main gangs in it. You get the Escher and the Deluxe, 10 models for each. And then you get a decent bit of terrain. You know, you get, what is it? The main scatter terrain set, and then a couple of like the new terrain sprues right here. So it's definitely a lot less coming in this box, but it's also half the price. And then when we look at, you know, obviously the board, but when we look at the actual rule book that comes with the set and everything also, you know, you get the tokens obviously, and then you get all the different cards. And then you get 2 sets of those dice like we were talking about. So when it's all said and done, I mean, this box is obviously a better deal. And a lot more people are likely to pick up a game at $170 than at $300. But I don't think it completely invalidates the new set either. Like, I'm still picking it up. I'm partially biased too because I want to see what's inside and share with you guys, and you know, I make content out of it, and I know people will enjoy it and want to see that kind of stuff. So it makes me a little bit biased towards picking it up because, to tell you the truth, I probably wouldn't otherwise have picked this up. I would probably wait and then hear what I hear from other people and then see how the reactions are, and then later on maybe pick up the rulebook, etc. But I do want to see the terrain in real life. It is really starting to grow on me. I do want to see, you know, everything that comes in the set, the rules, all that. So again, that makes it a little different for me, but I can understand how a lot of people are passing on this box set. So when it's all said and done, we'll see what happens. I mean, I think this was a mistake on their part because I think they built up a ton of hype for this game, and now I think they have basically turned off a lot of people. I am curious about the size of the board, if it says it on here, because we don't see that. It looks like it's bigger. It just says double-sided gaming mat. And it does say 176-page hardcover rulebook. Yeah, so when it's all said and done, this board has to be bigger than the regular Necromunda size board. But I don't know. Looking at this compared to the other set, how little the guys looked on the other set, I would say this is bigger. I just can't tell quite how big it actually is just by looking at this. I mean, we could probably like extrapolate it by the templates and then figure out how many templates across it is. I mean, probably like roughly 7 templates across, and I think these are 3-inch templates. So that would be 7 times 6, if I'm not mistaken. So I don't know. Maybe it is. It doesn't look big enough to be 4 foot by 4 foot. So we'll have to see. I'll have it in my hands soon, and then we'll do an unboxing, take a look, and then I can give you guys my accurate opinion. But that being said, probably just going to go ahead and wrap it up there. So let me know what you guys think down below. I know initially the sticker shock for like $2.99 for this set was basically like, yeah, I was going to pick this up for sure, and now I'm not. I heard that from a lot of people. Same with like the Nether Maze set as well. Same with a lot of the last month has basically been everybody was super hyped for new releases, and then everybody was like, yeah, the prices are too high, I'm passing on this. That was probably 90% of the comments about pricing or about the new stuff over the last month that I have gotten. And we're talking about hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of comments. So that being said, I think we're seeing a clear line in the sand where the majority of people are saying, or at least the vocal minority are saying, hey, I was going to buy this stuff and now I'm not. So when it's all said and done, we'll see how it all flushes out. I think that these last 4 weeks have basically been an eye-opener for a lot of people that are like, look, this price creep is not going to stop, and this game is getting pretty expensive. So when it's all said and done, I'm going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Let me know what you guys think down below. Let me know your opinions. Are you picking up these sets? What have you bought from Games Workshop over the last 4 weeks of releases? What new stuff have you bought over the last month? So I can have a rough idea. Are people still spending like they were? Are people cutting back? Is it GW? Is it the economy? Is it a combination of everything? I do always like to hear you guys' opinions. So that being said, going to go ahead and wrap it up there. Hopefully you enjoyed the video today and my little explanation / rants. So make sure you do subscribe for Warhammer 40,000, Kill Team Necromunda, Age of Sigmar, Warcry, some Horus Heresy, a little Underworld, some D&D, pretty much anything to do with war or tabletop war gaming. That being said, Warhammer Man Studios, I'm Warhammer Man, and I'm out of here.